Mission to
All right, hey, let's start this one with the round of applause. You know what we just did?
We just watched the last silent film.
It's the last
Thank
one.
God.
TC, you'll
Thank
never have
God.
to watch another silent movie in your entire life.
Well, I mean, it's questionable if I watched a lot of this movie, but
Yeah, well, all right, my turn to go first. I'm going to kick right
Okay.
off into it.
Go, Danny.
yeah,
Let's
it's
go.
your turn to go
City
first.
Lights. This
Let's
movie
do
was
it.
made in 1931, written and directed and composed and all that musical stuff by Charlie Chaplin.
Uh-huh.
The last few Charlie Chaplin movies we watched, I don't know, what do we watch? Gold Rush.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The one with all the
Modern Times,
machines. Yeah,
The Great
Modern
Dictator.
Times, Great Dictator. This one I thought was funny. I laughed at my TV. I was
I mean,
laughing.
I laughed a
I was
few
laughing.
times.
Really?
Yeah.
Really. I don't know
Uh-oh.
why I felt stupid every time I
Well-
did it. It was like I felt like a 3-year-old. Like I literally laughed
it's
hard
really
when he
dumb.
was sucking
Yeah.
up the noodles and it made the little slide whistle
Why?
sound. I
Why?
laughed. I don't know. I was questioning
you- were
it
you-
as I was
what-
laughing.
Were you sober?
High? You know, I was totally sober
Yeah.
watching this
Oh,
movie.
really? Okay.
100%
Well,
sober.
really?
Not hungover, not
Really?
drunk, not high.
Well,
nothing.
maybe that was the problem.
Well, that was kind of, maybe the issue.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I laughed at the intro scene with the kazoos when they were like, the guy had like the medium tone kazoo and then the lady had the higher pitch one.
That was funny.
I laughed at that.
I did laugh at that.
I laughed when they were drunk in the bar and he like fell over and his legs were just slipping all over the place. And there was a whole
Yeah.
scene with like the
Yeah.
chairs and the
The
cigar.
chair scene was funny.
Yeah.
The chair
Chair
scene was
scene.
funny.
His acting when he had the cigar.
Mainly
and
because he wasn't the only one that was in that scene that was good. Like the other guy nailed it.
Yeah,
with,
he
with
was
the
great.
drunken
Like the
yeah, he
friend
looked like
of
an
the rich
angry
guy.
drunk kind of.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I thought all that was really good. I thought the dancing when he got up, when he was like getting the dance in his bones and he got up and started swirling that woman around and then he swirled
Yeah.
the waiter around.
Yeah.
And I liked the boxing scene, you know, just
Did
going
ya?
scene to scene. I did. I thought it was like pretty well choreographed. I was kind of impressed that it was all a single shot. And I mean, it was probably the only way they could have done it back then. But
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff in this movie is like a single long take for an entire scene. And there's a lot of physical stuff going on. Like the scene where he's drunk in the dude's house and he like bangs his head on the piano and then spins around the chair and then flies back like 10 feet into the thing. Like that must have been difficult to do. There's stuff in this movie, unlike the other ones where I'm like, oh, wow, that was impressive. I couldn't do that, you know? And the other ones, I'm like, that's stupid. This guy's doing easy shit. You're like, why is this
Right.
impressive?
Oh, yeah.
He's roller skating
Okay.
backwards, fine. He's like getting bonked in the head,
I like
fine.
the roller skating. But
Yeah, you can
whatever.
like it, but it wasn't impressive. People can do that all over the
I
place.
found it. I can't do that. Anyway,
Okay.
but go on.
People can do that.
I know
Common
can
people.
do
It's
it.
not hard to do.
Common
There's
people.
stuff in this
Common
movie.
people like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
stuff in this movie that I thought was pretty impressive in terms of like his physical acting, everyone else's physical acting, the choreography of like the joke parts, like the chair thing specifically. Like there was a lot of coordination going on there, and it must have been all planned out because you know it was timed perfectly. The cigar thing might not have been the most hilarious thing, but it was timed out really well. I watched this twice because the commentary. If you watch his friend drunk, he's not even looking at Charlie. So they have it timed out. They could be yelling at each other or something, but like he's not looking for his cue to like when he gives the guy gives Charlie the cigar sort of thing.
No. I figured they were just clapping in the background for when they need to like turn.
Something, but still,
I mean,
well
they didn't
done.
really move the camera. That's the whole point of this. I feel like this movie was like, okay, let's not move the camera.
Well, they did. They didn't move the camera in his other movies, but they actually had like some camera moves in this one, which I also thought
they
was
were
pretty
minimal
good.
because,
Very
like you
minimal.
said, there
Yeah.
was a lot of the. It was a lot of more like what's on the screen than you know, in the background. You're trying to pay attention to so many things in this one, but
Yeah, I mean, the bar was set low because I did not like Modern Times that much.
yes, you came in kind of angry.
I came in like, I'm not going to like this. Like, I'm just going to get through
Yeah.
it and it'll be fine. It's Charlie Chaplin.
Right, and
I
then
know what
it's
to
over.
expect. Right.
That's right.
It's like
That's
at
right.
least it's less than an hour and a half long. It's
Yep.
going to be him getting like bonked on the head, falling down. He's going to have big duck feet. You know, he takes his hat and he goes, "Hello, sir," like 1,000 times. It's
That's
like
right.
this,
So like anything, inanimate objects.
spins
you
his cane because that's hilarious. You know, it's got all that
know,
kind
right.
of typical stuff that gets really
BS
boring.
essentially.
There are things that like it happens once and it's maybe a little funny, but then it happens
Right.
again and you're just like, God damn it, movie. You know, like when they're falling into the water over and over again. I'm like, all right, I get it. How long
Yeah,
is the scene?
that one went on a little bit longer than it needed to, for sure.
There's definitely like the score.
But that was like the most important part, right, of the movie, because that kicks off literally the rest of the movie.
Right. It's mostly, I feel like the majority of the movie was mostly about this guy's relationship with the drunk Two-Face guy. You can't even remember shit when he's sober. He's super friendly. And then the side story of him getting the money for this girl, this blind girl, I didn't really care about it. You hear people talking about it in the special features, and you think like it's one of the most beautiful things ever committed to
wonderful
cinema.
Romantic thing.
Is it? That's what they say?
Yeah.
Who are these people? I don't know these
Tarkovsky,
people.
favorite movie. One of Scorsese's favorite movies. One of Kubrick's favorite movies.
I mean, these are old farts. I'm just
some of them are dead.
That out there,
some of them are now dead. You're right.
These guys are fucking barely living with it, barely
they got
walking
to see
with
this in its prime, maybe, or closer to much closer to its prime. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a silent movie. The music was grating. You know, it's just like a lot of big band, and it's like, I don't know. We don't listen to that anymore for a reason, right? I think it was the only music available for a time, and now there's a lot more, and no one listens to it.
That's all you got.
No, it's like reused in Macaulay Culkin's movies, you know, that kind of shit. Like, it's a joke, right? You're not using that. Yeah, you're not using that music anymore for intentional reasons.
Right.
But I did like the music during the boxing scene. I thought that was at least different, and it kind of was quiet compared to what was going on the screen.
I'm not sure I really remember it.
It was Flight of the Bumblebees-esque.
Yeah.
I will admit I had to rewind a lot.
It was different, yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of famous shots in this movie. Never seen this before, but I've seen them, you know, when they roll the reels of like Hollywood. This is what Hollywood is. And there's like some classic Charlie Chaplin things they show. A lot of them are from this movie, I think. Definitely Little Mac from the game Punch-Out on the Nintendo Entertainment System was taken from this, or, you know, the little boxing moves, the tiny little guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The fast little gloves swirling them around each other. Bar was low. I laughed a bunch. This movie was pretty good. I am not upset that I watched it.
Well,
for such an old
wraps
movie,
up this episode.
For such an old movie.
Good lukewarm praise.
Yeah. If you think sucking up a spaghetti noodle into your head and with accompanied by a slide whistle might be funny, then this is the movie for you.
I mean, I kept thinking he was going to come out of his nose.
I mean, back then, maybe it was original. Back then, nobody had sucked a spaghetti noodle like that before. I mean, maybe he invented it.
Well, I mean, he invented this type of movie where he was kind of defying the talkies, I guess, because this is like 4 years after the talkies. And, you know, the first half of production, he thought that the talkies were going to be a fad and silent film was going to come back. But then basically at the same time, he realized that wasn't going to happen, that talkies were around to stay. And the stock market crashed in 1929. It happened in the middle. And it kind of got him like rethinking. He's like, all right, we have to start recording sound for this movie. We have to start integrating sound. But instead of integrating like, you know, dialogue, they integrated kazoos for voices and slide whistles for noodles and like little harp thingies for when you fall and all these kind of action-y sounds. Because he was still defiant, but he's like, let's do something that we haven't done before, which is like more cues, I guess. Which is kind of unique because it's a fully silent movie, but it has the technology to not be a silent movie. Yeah, and he's kind of not doing it to be defiant because he was like outside Hollywood and all that stuff. But we're getting into trivia.
Nice.
Sounds like you guys didn't like it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I liked it. Again,
I mean, there were moments that I laughed, but
oh, good. Well, you laughed. I didn't laugh, but I'm
you didn't laugh once.
Tired.
The head on the piano, that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
There was some stupid shit.
I like certain
just
parts. It just always went on too long. Even the boxing scene, which I liked, it's the same sequence over and over again. Like
no,
5
it gets
times.
more complicated. They start confusing each other with each other.
Like,
I thought
how many
that was
times
terrible.
you're gonna do the hugging bit?
I'm also, I don't know. I just and I felt like I
thought it was funny when he got his neck tied around the bell and he kept going back to the corner and then ring it again and then coming back.
I will say I made a mental note that there was a lot of like hanging going on in this one.
Yeah,
right?
A lot of suicide. Suicide was a big topic.
Around necks a couple times in this one. Yeah.
The guy tried to put a bullet into his head at least twice.
I know. It was kind of a interesting juxtaposition to the stupidity.
But
that
even
was on
then, I
screen.
just feel like everything's done like 4 or 5 times when it needs to be done once or twice. Even when they do a new sequence
But John, they choreographed it. Listen
choreographed
to that.
All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know.
come on.
They
That's
didn't
all.
cut.
Anyway,
Yeah,
It's impressive.
I know.
it's
It's
just
fine. It is, I guess. I just
nerd
didn't-
bullshit.
I think I was tired. I wish maybe if I'd seen this one first, I was just sort of a little Chaplined out.
I had so much trouble paying attention. I found myself doing 3 other things, and then being like, "Oh right, damn, now I got to rewind." And like I would listen to the music,
So
and I'd be like,
committed.
"All right," and I'd forget that I'm watching
That was nice
something.
of you to rewind.
Yeah, well, yeah,
That was-
I had to
mean,
rewind.
I mean, if you look at the plot,
wanna miss
it's like even
You'll be
less.
lost.
To
Don't wanna
me,
miss
the,
it.
the plot's like less interesting than the other films we've seen of his. There was more going on in Modern Times, I think, more going on in Gold Rush. Yeah, I mean, just I don't know. I felt like there was more of a things moved a bit. The plot moved at a bit quicker pace, and this one, it just sort of sat with it was very simple things that happen, and it sat with him. I do agree that like we don't see this in any of his other films. I don't think he has another actor he's playing off of that isn't just like a love interest. So like this guy who's his rich buddy. I don't think we see this in any other of his other films. Because like if he's the love interest is there, and so he's being wacky, but she's usually the straight person, or like it's not really as much the two of them doing something as like with equal footing in terms of being comedic. But you're right. Like I did like those scenes with the other actor because it really was even more than the usual because they were both in it together and they both were like doing different things but coordinating. And like, you're right. So the fight scene is again also like that because it doesn't feel like it's just about the tramp doing tramp things. It's then it's more interactive. So I can talk myself into liking that stuff more and appreciating that. Those are better Those are
Don't do
those
it,
are
John.
better.
That's
Stay
right.
negative.
But Modern Times had all the just sort of some interesting themes and then really interesting contraptions and stuff that made it kind of cool. I think.
If you were to ask me,
and-
do you know the difference between Modern Times and whatever the fuck it is that we watched today? I'd bet.
yeah, it was
Couldn't
whatever. Oh, black and white. Don't know.
Which one was that? I don't know. There's a blind
the
woman.
one where
Oh,
he's
yeah,
like in the
that's
machine.
what I remember.
All the
and I
slapstick in
remember the
Modern Times.
kitty. Did you see the
Yeah.
kitty up on the little thing?
In this one,
That's about it.
I missed the kitty.
Oh, you missed the kitty.
There was
Oh,
a
God
kitty.
damn it! I
Found
was
the kitty.
staring at
There was.
Charlie. I missed the kitty.
There was. Yeah, right in the beginning when he drops her off.
Oh, cat.
Yeah, that's about as good as I got there.
Yeah, there were a lot of
That was
scenes
the
too where it
highlight.
was
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
about
like
as good as I got. Yeah.
there was some like I don't know what you call them when he's in bed with him and the guy's like, "What the hell did I do last night? What is this guy
Yeah.
doing in my bed?"
Oh,
And there's the
yeah.
scene
I
where,
didn't quite catch that as like I don't know. I
but then
guess
there's
so.
the scene right before he's about to box and the guy's about to box.
Oh,
he's making
he's
weird eyes at him.
goo-goo eyes at
Yeah.
him. The
Really
guy doesn't
oddly.
seem to be that. It's very odd how he's doing it. The other guy doesn't seem to be like freaked out by
He goes
that,
behind the
is
curtain
he?
to change because he's afraid the guy's staring at him.
because he's like making goo-goo eyes at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Haha. Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought
guess
that was
you're
odd
right.
too.
Yeah.
For laughs,
yeah.
I guess.
Right. Yeah.
You got anything else, John? Might be a short one.
No.
You didn't laugh. You come close
did-
at all.
I didn't laugh, but it might just be where I'm at in life. That's all.
Just
you
the
know.
humor is
Hey,
gone.
he does
It
not
is.
laugh.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
right.
matter what it
It's
is,
just,
right?
I'm dead inside, you know.
Yeah,
that
there's
sort
no
of thing.
laugh.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just wasn't in the mood for this. I mean, we watched it with the kids, and the kids didn't mind it. They didn't laugh as much either. I think they laughed more when we watched Modern Times. Yeah, Alex really loved the idea of a guy getting caught in a big machine. I think he really enjoyed that. You know, where
Psycho.
the
Little
yeah,
psycho.
where the like the overseer or whatever was like stuck there and getting fed and stuff. It was just more, just like flat out weird, funny. I guess I don't know. Being fed an egg while you're stuck in a machine seems just pretty bizarre. But yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre.
yeah. I don't got much.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much.
I
Let me
mean-
go through my list. This might be a short one. I mean, this movie
okay.
is
Might?
it's the same thing as his other movies. It's just
Yeah.
a series of gags with
Mhm.
story that try to
Well,
tie them
did
together.
Did he film this? So when we were talking about Modern Times, we were talking about how his way of filming was it was cheap. So they would just film and film and film and film and they wouldn't have to worry about it. But Modern Times, they had to start stopping. They weren't able to do that, right?
No, they weren't.
Right, right, because
mostly
of money,
because
right.
because
Freeway.
the industry started to change, unions started to
Yeah.
solidify, the market dropped.
Right. So with
Um,
this one, was he able to do it that way, or was he still had to Was he able to just film and film and film for this one?
Well, luckily for him, he has a lot of money, so yes.
Right. So
But
yeah. So this
at
one
the
he had to
time,
do it the way he's
true.
used to doing.
it was
right?
the most expensive movie he had made up until this point. It was $1.5 million of his own money he put into this movie. He basically had his own studio. He was outside of Hollywood. Like the studio's in Hollywood, but like
right.
he has his own studio.
like
He has his own
self-produced.
shit. Like he owns the studio. He pays the actress himself. You know, like there's no other companies working. It's like Chaplin owned every.
It's just right
part
out of
it.
his own bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he didn't have
he
to
can
like
do
listen to
whatever he wants.
anybody. Yeah. If he,
Great.
I don't know if we said this before, but one thing that came up a bunch of times is if he was able to act in every one of the roles, he would have done that. He hated working with actors. There was actually behind the scenes footage on this movie of him just being pissed, a pissed Charlie Chaplin every second as a director.
Why?
Pissed.
Because he has to deal with other people.
Yeah, he hated
just-
the woman actor in this. He actually fired her once
Oh,
during the
shit.
production of this movie. And after a week, he had to bring her back because the person that was
He
gonna
didn't
replace
like
her-
his drunk friend.
No complaints about him actually. So they
Okay.
did.
They were
and
buddies.
they actually
They had a grand old time.
he hired someone else to be the drunk guy initially, and that guy got fired because he was doing a crappy job. And he hired this guy in because he had worked with him before on another one of his movies. Charlie Chaplin's been in a lot of movies.
It's an interesting thing that, I mean, like I was saying earlier, that we just don't see him really. It's like when we see his movies, it's him and then there's everybody else and maybe there's a love interest, whatever. But he's like front and center all the time. And
Yeah.
maybe that's partially just because he does not like people or he doesn't want to
Or
act.
like
he doesn't necessarily
he's in
not like
charge
people.
and he
He
wants
doesn't want to
everybody
act
to
with
know.
people, I guess. Maybe,
Well,
maybe
he
just
doesn't
he
like
can't
how people
control it.
are not living inside his head. Like he thinks everything
Yeah.
he's saying is easy as long as you
Right.
can like follow what I say. All you have to do
Right,
is
you
do
just throw
exactly
yourself
what
at
I
the
say.
piano
Just
and
do
then you jump back
exactly what I
20
tell
feet
you.
and then
Yeah.
you do a roll.
Yeah.
What's wrong? You
Yeah.
know, I don't
That's
know
how
if
he'd
he's
tell the
just-
actors what to do. He would literally
Yeah.
stand where they are supposed to stand in the scene and act out the entire scene and then say,
just do
that's what
that.
you do. And he'd have them stand there and do it. And then he'd yell at them for not getting it right.
Oh, God.
What
that sounds
that's
awful.
I guess that's really the
He did it for everyone.
that's the luxury of being in charge.
Right.
Well, yeah.
It's like you got to do all this stuff on the way up where like you be diplomatic
Right.
and cordial and then you get in charge and you're like fuck everybody.
I'm the writer. I'm the director. I'm the
Yeah.
cinematographer.
yeah,
I
right.
am
If you
the
don't like it, get off the
choreographer.
fucking set.
Right.
You know?
If you want to argue with anybody, you're going to argue with me.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Even for the
Yeah.
kids, like the newsy kids that shot the spitball, he pantomimed the spitballing, like all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Just, like,
Every
really showing
single
exactly
thing
how to do it.
that happened in this movie was done at least once, probably 10, 15, 100 times by Charlie trying to get the actress to do exactly what he wants for that
Wow.
specific scene.
Jesus.
For that specific time, because his motivations changed too. It's not like he has a clear idea of what the fuck's
Right,
going
right.
on.
So he was like, he would just be like, he could, yeah, because he would just alter it.
This
and
movie
then-
has a record, Guinness Book of World Records, most shots taken for a single scene in a movie.
Oh wow,
Wow.
It's like 342
Holy
shots
shit.
for a
Wait, I
single
mean,
scene.
didn't Kubrick had like hundreds? Was it
Hundreds, not
Kubrick?
300.
Right? But
Not 300,
Even
yeah.
Kubrick didn't rise
Yeah.
to that, huh?
The one
Holy shit.
scene, the one scene that caused him the most trouble of his entire career, and is this Guinness World Record scene, is the one where he's going and trying to buy a flower from the blind girl for the first time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! What a small
The
scene.
thing is,
to-
he goes to the movies with a script without it all figured out. He's basically trying to figure out the plot on set, and they couldn't figure out how they could get the blind girl to think that the tramp was a rich guy because they needed that to
Oh.
happen, but they didn't know how to do it.
Like, wait, she can't see. Like, how do you do that in auditory?
Yeah, how do you
can't.
do
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
without any sound? So like they just
Right.
they tried a bunch of stuff. They were trying it on set. They didn't figure this out before they
Wow.
started shooting.
Wow,
they were
that
doing it there.
sucks.
Yeah.
Just
And
burning money.
it took them so
Wow.
long to do. They did it weeks at a time, and they went back 5 times to do it. So like they went back, like they did, weeks, paused, did something else, went back, did weeks, paused, went back, did that 5 times.
Holy
total.
shit.
So
Dude.
that's insane. And-
Sometimes
All
a
for like
storyboard could
a
be a good
mediocre
thing.
movie.
Right. Well,
well,
just
a
as
classic, TC.
It,
This is,
but
by all
that's a very-
accounts,
it is a very
it
small,
is.
non-intricate.
When do we get
scene.
to
It's
like
just this idea that
change
they
the
weren't-
list of classics? You know,
Yeah.
is there a way to like move that goalpost a little bit? You know,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not being sarcastic or lying when I say this movie entertained me. And it's,
Yeah.
that's something. It's like the
Yeah,
oldest
good,
movie.
Yeah, it's good for you. No, it again,
Yeah.
it also, I mean, it's one of those, I mean, it
Certainly better than the
Yeah.
other ones. I think there is a big
I know.
difference.
Yeah. I don't know.
Huh.
But anyway, it certainly
I
has
don't
its
know.
place in history in terms of like, what it was doing, I guess, at the time. I mean, it's just amazing to think of. It's such a small scene, and that it's not because it's a complicated scene by any means. It's just that they don't know the plot of the film. They just don't know. They don't know how what the mechanism is to get the things to happen that they want to happen. So they're just going to film it until it makes sense.
And
to
do you know
them.
what the mechanism was? And I'm not even sure I picked up on it.
What?
The thing they were
was it?
missing and that solved all of their problems was figuring out that the car doors slamming was going to be the key to it all.
Oh, that it was a wealthy car door.
Yeah.
And no, I didn't pick up on that in that scene. I didn't even like connect those scenes or know that she remembered him from that very first time he bought the flower. I don't think that mattered at all because he goes and gives her big wads of money later. Then she knows she's rich. He's rich, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I didn't think that she thought he was rich.
Right.
At
not
all.
At the first.
I don't think that.
Yeah,
I didn't think that mattered. I thought they just had a connection somehow. And
I thought that scene was to establish that he really liked her, and that was it. Done.
Yeah.
Right. Because later he gives her all this
agree.
money, and then now she knows
and that's why she's waiting for a rich guy at the flower store
Right.
because of the wads of money.
Right.
Not because of when they met each other. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
But apparently there's a thing when he like rolls into that first scene where he arrives when a rich person's door is closing because a
Like
rich
a
guy
car,
just bought a
rich-
thing. I don't
yeah.
even know. I've watched this movie twice. I don't totally get the logic of it, but that was the thing holding them up. And they figured it out, and then they could continue,
Yeah. Wow.
But it's a lot of shots. Single scene.
Yeah.
But they got it. You had the woman, Cheryl is the name of the actor, the woman actor in this movie. She hated him. They yelled at each other constantly.
Oh, nice.
He fired her after a yelling match one day. And that was when
good.
and it was just public, just in the studio screaming at each other. He fired her. He wanted her to come back after a week because the backup was not doing a good job. And she negotiated twice her original pay
Good
to
for
come
her.
back.
Wow.
Yeah. Stick it to him. Fuck Charlie. Fuck that asshole. Child rapist, piece of shit.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And she also said she's 20 years old during the making of this, and Charlie was in her 40s. And people apparently always asked her, like, hey, because Charlie would always fuck the
'Cause
stars
that's
of
what
his
he
movies.
does.
That's what he did.
Yeah,
He's like, hey, did
yeah.
Charlie, did you guys have a thing? And she said, no, I'm not his type. I'm way too old.
Oh,
20 years old.
shit.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it was,
And
it
they
probably
all
wasn't,
know.
they knew, and that probably wasn't as
Yep.
much of a zing as it is now, right? It was probably just
Yeah.
like a practical, like, I'm too old. I'm 20.
Yeah.
He doesn't
right,
date
right,
20-year-olds.
right, right.
He
divorces
And it
him
was
at
just
18 and
I mean,
19.
I would have,
Yeah.
but
Right.
Yeah.
he doesn't like
Well,
old
look at me.
people,
I know how to
20.
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a license. Well,
No, they
that's
don't,
too
John.
old.
It's the 20s. They don't know. how to
Oh, that's
drive.
right.
Oh,
too.
yeah, does
Maybe
anybody-
not.
yeah, right,
Sorry.
you just
Or
grab and
whatever. I
go.
can drink, whatever. I don't know. They can't drink prohibition. I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore back then.
I don't remember the times.
Yeah. Fucking Charlie Chaplin. What a weird little guy.
Yeah.
Just the most famous person in the world for such a long period of time.
Yeah. I don't think he was very happy.
Yeah, with all the money and all the stuff.
He was
I
never
mean, he's
satisfied.
yelling and screaming
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
everybody. And
I think people that are this kind of, being a perfectionist, I don't know about that. Like, you can't ever reach perfection. He's just a hard worker because he's like
Oh, no,
totally
no.
obsessed
and
with it,
smart.
basically.
No, and smart and dedicated. But that
Capable,
doesn't mean it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a miserable asshole. I don't think different people
Does
had
it
like
not?
ideas
Being
about.
unsatisfied
I
leads you
think
to be
I think some
unhappy.
people
Well, what
might
about
disagree.
like Kubrick, who was a
right.
perfectionist, but he had a family life, and he had, again, there were other parts to him as well. Like, I don't think he was like a miserable asshole the whole time.
Kind of was.
Yeah, do you
Not
think?
the whole time, but towards the end, I
Yeah.
think he was.
Yeah, I think it's hard. Yeah, I don't know.
But also, old people get grumpy anyway. It's like, could just be
that's
an
true.
old person thing.
Look at right here.
Look
I
at
mean,
John,
that's
fucking
right.
getting crankier every week.
Yeah,
Jesus.
oh
Yeah,
my God,
right.
it's awful.
Yeah, by the time we finish this thing, he'll be cursing the damn podcast.
Yeah.
Talking about killing them all right before the
That's right.
podcast.
Yeah.
I was really
right.
upset at the wall yesterday, and it didn't do anything to me. Anyway,
Gotta
I
put a
mean, it's
hole through
yellow.
it.
I don't know why, but our house is yellow. I didn't paint it that. There it is.
You don't like yellow?
Yeah.
No, don't like yellow. Why do you
No.
want a yellow wall? I guess it makes you think of sunshine, but yeah.
Does it?
Anyway.
Yeah.
So there's
Hmm.
like this, listening to the commentary, there were a lot of things that I didn't get that you're supposed to get, which I know we don't typically like this. The more you know about the movie, the more you might appreciate it, sort of.
Yeah, that's fine.
But if you don't get it when you watch it,
Well,
it's kind of
right.
hard to appreciate it,
right.
whatever. But the scene where the booze is being poured in the crotch, I didn't think that was that funny because I was like, you'd notice this happening, right?
That's true.
And it's like, it's pouring so much booze right
And it
into his
happened
crotch.
like five times, again, as usual.
Yep.
Wow.
But the gag was supposed to be that Charlie thought he was spilling on himself. He thought it was his fault it was happening.
Oh.
That was the joke.
Did not pick up. I just thought he wasn't noticing.
Missed that one.
Because either way, you would notice. You'd think he would notice and be like, "Oh, I'm all wet."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
It didn't
get
seem
that.
like he noticed he was all wet until he got in trouble for sitting down on the couch.
Yeah. I did like it how he poured the shot into his little front pocket there and gave it a nice slap. I thought that was a
Little
good move.
tap.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. I hit the guy in the face.
That dancing was pretty aggressive, huh? When he broke up the fight, that was like surprising how aggressive dancing used to be. Some kind of weird tango or something.
Sped up too. It's like the footage seemed particularly sped up.
But he had the girl around the neck and he was like bouncing her off the ground.
Oh yeah. That initial scene. Yeah, I actually liked that. I wanted that to go on longer. I thought that was impressive.
It was aggressive.
Aggressive. You're right. Very aggressive. Like just beating each other up, sort of like
it's like a fight dance.
Yeah, like, well, that's what tango is supposed to be, but I didn't see like banging their head on the floor fight, which sort of was like close to that.
I mean, if that's anywhere, I'd pay for it. You know,
it was just impressive skill, and I was like, oh, I'm sad that's over. Now we have to go back to the little antics of the little guy again.
Now I gotta watch another 70 minutes.
You're gonna
he's
do that
eating a
like
streamer.
5 times.
Oh, look at him go! Oh, it's been a minute and a half. He's still eating a streamer.
Yeah.
Is it still funny?
Whatever the bit is, it's got to go on for 5 minutes at least. Whatever the bit is. So I'm gonna go get a sandwich.
Oh, another scene I haven't mentioned yet that really got me laughing was when he swallowed the whistle.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was really funny.
Like, kept burping.
He kept burping. That went on for a while, and it got
Hiccuping,
funnier as it went on for some reason. To me, it did. I was laughing pretty hard.
I mean,
by
I
the
get
end.
it. That's the idea of something like that to make it, if you can go along with it.
I did feel stupid this entire movie. I feel like a 3-year-old. I feel like someone was just like slide whistle and like a baby laughs. That was me watching this movie.
Oh.
But I couldn't help it, and I enjoyed myself. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, good for you. It's not a bad
Fucking
thing.
A.
Yep.
The soap cheese bit, didn't really enjoy that one too much.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah.
And like, why would the cheese be that big?
And it's the exact same shape as the soap. There were a couple of gags like that in this movie where it was like, all right, cheese and soap are the exact same shape. What is this? This food with this star outline is the same shape as this guy's bald head and like some kind of weird hat. What is that gag?
Alex liked that one. Alex.
I was
Alex
confused. Is that food the person was giving them?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck was that?
Some kind of Jello salad thing. I don't know. Mold.
And you're supposed to scrape it off the top?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's all I got for the movie. You guys ready for commentary?
Sure.
Oh yes, let's go.
Oh,
I
do we have
can't wait for
commentary?
this.
Do we
Who's
have
on board?
Is he stuffy?
Sir Jeffrey Vance.
Oh,
and
that
who's he?
sounds stuffy.
He's a very fancy. Fancy Vance. He wasn't bad. He worked on the archives for all of Chaplin's films. He knows like the Chaplin family. He's worked in libraries and stuff like that. He wrote a biography, and he was not full of himself, which is all I can really ask for. These guys that have like their fake British accents and try to sound, I don't even know how to describe it, just like that smart asshole accent.
Yeah.
It's not British, but it is kind of British.
It's like Harvard, sort of, like whatever. It's like
Professor
It's fancy.
Dickhead.
I mean, that's what we're going from now on. It's very fancy.
Yeah.
Fancy.
But this guy wasn't like that, so that was good. He did have a lot of info. You could tell when he didn't have info on a specific scene, when he would just veer off into like random shit about the actors in the scene, about what they did otherwise, and it's pretty typical though. But a lot of it was pretty good stuff. 2 years to make this movie. 22 months.
It seems excessive.
I mean, 300 takes for one shot. I mean, it's going to take eat some time up.
And for a lot of it, when Chaplin was trying to figure out what to do, he kept everyone on the payroll. So that's 22 months of everybody on the payroll while they filmed it.
He just had like endless cash.
What was so much money.
Did this film like
highest grossing movie of the year when it came out? Did fucking gangbusters. He made $5 million in cash this year from this movie when it came out, which is like unheard of. So the movie cost $1.5 million, which is a lot for a movie back then. And he made $5 million from it.
Okay, so he's good. He's good.
He's all set.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I don't care what you're doing. You're coming back to work the day I say you are.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's crazy shit, man.
So the Star Spangled Banner is in this movie. Do you guys?
Yeah,
recognize
they
it?
stopped the.
Yeah, I didn't know why they started to play it all of a sudden out of nowhere.
I mean, I guess that's the
they're
joke,
sitting there,
right?
I know they're sitting there. trying to get the guy, trying to get him off the statue, and then just out of nowhere they start playing it.
Done.
Denny, okay?
Done.
Denny doesn't know how to handle his liquor
His
or his
whiskey.
beer.
It's a strong one.
Yeah.
The Star
Making me
Spangled
cough.
Banner wasn't the national anthem at the time. That's how
Oh,
old this
okay.
movie is.
Oh
I-
man,
It's crazy.
that is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing that makes the touching parts more touching, I guess, is if you know that he made this movie because his mom just died. And the whole
Oh.
thing with like him trying to cure a blind person, it's him trying to say like, the one thing I'd want is to be able to fix the illness that killed my mother, sort of thing. So it's kind of like a fantasy he plays
His
out for
mom
himself.
was killed by blindness.
No, by an illness though. So then he
Oh.
like took blindness as
Killed
something
by
more fixable.
blindness.
Uh-huh.
I mean, she was blind. She walked out
Did
into
you guys
traffic.
know
She got
that
hit by a
Charlie
car.
Chaplin's
But it
wife was
wasn't-
killed
it
by
wasn't his
blindness?
mom in the movie.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, dude, fun
Sorry.
fact, bro.
Well, I guess it could kill you. Yeah.
Charlie Chaplin's wife was
Right.
killed by blindness.
I don't know.
Yeah.
if that makes it poignant at all. It makes
You
I
heard
can
it
say,
here
okay,
first.
that seems.
You're making
far
fun of it,
removed.
but I'm pretty sure if you're blind and you leave the house and you die because you were
Die
blind.
from blindness. That's
Yeah.
right. Cause of death, blindness.
Yeah,
So yeah, fair enough. But no, that doesn't.
it's
I don't
probably
know,
very
that doesn't-
insensitive, but it's also kind of true.
No,
so.
I just
I
don't.
mean, it's
and more
funny.
It's about.
So,
I don't
there's
see this
that.
as like some heartfelt connection from Charlie thinking about his mom. I don't know. Maybe it was, but it certainly didn't come through in the film. But
No,
yeah.
but that's one of the things you can kind of look into and be like, oh, well, that is kind of sweet. He's having a little fantasy about his mom still being alive. He's putting it on
Right.
screen. by
Yeah, but
fixing
then
it.
he goes and yells at people for
instead
2
it's a
years
girl.
Yeah.
It's a
straight.
love
Yeah.
interest. It's not his mom.
I'm sure his mom
Like,
would
it's a
be
little
real
weird.
thrilled as he raped. Yeah.
Well, oof. Okay.
It's topical. It's allowed, John. It's a part of the rules.
Yeah, right.
If it's
sure.
real, we can't talk shit on Kevin Spacey anymore. By the way, you see
I
that
know.
shit? Fuck.
Apparently he's
I
all
know.
acquitted.
He still has the
I know.
U.S. trial, so who knows how that's
Yeah.
going to go. But at the same time,
But hey, one down.
hey,
There's
hey,
precedent.
let's,
Nine
hey,
down. It was
guys,
like
let's get him
9
acquitted
counts.
before we have to get to usual suspects, huh? I want to enjoy
I
that.
mean,
movie.
let's
Let's
go.
go.
Nice.
I'm
That
on
would be good.
board. The
Work on
Hollywood
that.
crowd forgets all the time.
Yeah.
So, you know,
We've got 7 too somewhere.
Oh
along
yeah,
the line,
7.
don't we?
Hell yeah. Yeah, let's get him acquitted before then. And what is that? Like a year? I think they can do it.
Yeah,
Do it
Depends,
by then.
we'll just have to watch a bunch of intervening movies until
Yeah.
until the
Pause
trials
it
are
until
over.
he's free. Free
Yeah.
Kevin. Free Kevin.
no, that's
No.
gone too
Or
far.
don't.
Oh, it's too- that's too far.
Yeah. No.
You can't tell the sarcasm. I can't help
Yeah. I know.
you.
Seriously.
So this movie, I don't know if this is going to be good, but I'll cut it out if it's not. Not too many main and inner titles in this movie. This one had 98 compared to 130 in Gold Rush, which is a shorter movie, and
Wow.
141 in others. So is that good? No, that's not. Who cares?
I mean, it's interesting.
Useless information.
It was
Yeah.
done
Interesting. There was
intentionally
this,
because I
like,
wanted
yeah.
to simplify the story. So like 98 pieces, like individual cards. One of them her saying like, "Is this your flower?" That counts as one.
Yeah.
So I mean, 98 of those. That's not a lot to like get a bunch
you
of
didn't
story
need
across.
it at all. I mean, either because you saw what was happening. The story was so simple. You don't.
But we
need-
didn't kind of see
yeah.
what was happening. We didn't get
I guess
with
so,
the inner
right.
titles.
We didn't get that she thought we
was
didn't hear like
rich.
the title being there. Oh, that's the sound of a rich car door slamming.
Yeah, could have used an extra inner title right there.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
put that
that's
car.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That sounds like a rich car. Yeah, fancy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
smell
I
like,
like this person.
oh,
He has
rich
money.
people smell like the ground. That's weird.
right.
Huh.
So the production went for 2 years or 22 months total. They only filmed for 179 days of that. So that's less than
Okay.
half a year. It's like
Half a
six.
year.
It's
Okay,
like 6
so what
months.
did they do the rest of the time? What, editing, I guess?
Not a lot. No, mostly like set design, trying to figure out what was
Okay.
going on, all that extra stuff. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't even know. So like a lot of set stuff,
Logistics. Yeah.
figuring out problems and whatnot.
Sure. That sounds right.
The entire production was 4,571 takes,
Wow.
and
Jesus
342 were from that.
the right?
one
Is that the
scene.
most takes for a film?
No, they didn't say that. They would have mentioned it, I assume, if they did. that's a
Well,
lot.
what?
That's
Yeah.
a
Oh yeah.
ton.
No.
They had 314,256 feet of film, which is equivalent to 58 hours of film, and they only had one camera.
Whoa.
And the ratio, the shooting ratio is what they call it, and that's the ratio of the feet they shot versus the amount of feet in the film. And they had 39 feet of film shot for every foot in the film.
Whoa.
That's a lot of wasted
That's
film.
a lot of wasted film.
Yeah. That's
Just
very
burning
inefficient.
money. I mean, it's like he just
very-
wanted to burn money.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knew he was going to make it back. He knew,
By the
know.
way, Denny, I don't know if this is so. There is www.things.com.
Things.com.
Oh, things.com.
Movie
I believe
scenes
it.
that took
Good
the
place, yeah.
most takes to film. City Lights is number 2.
Oh, shit. This commentary was recorded in 2013. Was it since 2013?
Oh, maybe.
It's no, because it was a 1982 Hong Kong martial arts movie directed by young Jackie Chan.
Oh,
A
of
movie
course.
called Dragon Lord. There was a shuttlecock scene which had 2,900 takes.
What?
Whoa.
So this was in the Guinness Book of World Records. I don't know why that one's not.
Right. So maybe
So, I mean, I
Maybe,
believe that,
we
sure.
need
it's
to
like the
re-up
reference
on
is a
our
YouTube
information.
reference. I don't know. Maybe it's not official.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because this is in the Guinness Book of World Records for however official that is. But I mean, if that happened, that's a lot more takes. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Again, people just seem to make this stuff up. There's another like website that's saying that there's a scene in The Incredible Hulk that took more than a year to get right. They didn't even count. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. You don't know what's real anymore.
So this actress was hired because she has bad eyesight and she was vain, so she didn't want to wear glasses. So when she was trying out, she couldn't see anything, and she's pretty, so she kind of looked blind already. So they hired her because she kind of had the look of a blind person going
Nice.
into it. And they're like, oh,
Jesus.
she didn't have that much acting experience, and that ended up
They're
being a
like,
big
don't worry, you
difficulty."
don't have to. You just
Yeah.
have to take orders. He's going to tell you what to do.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she hated him, and she didn't like taking orders. And she wasn't under his thumb for some reason. He always like
Right.
kind of got people under his thumb and got them to do exactly what he wanted, but she was a little like rebellious.
She hated him.
She hated him. She
Yeah.
would like be
Oh.
late to the set. She would like take extra long lunches, that sort
Nice.
of thing.
Wow.
Oh,
and it would
imagine the
piss him
ball. I
off.
mean, can
Yeah.
you imagine like just back then, a
Mhm.
woman doing that too?
The
It's
Chaplin.
like, yeah, to
And the thing is, like,
Chaplin.
she wasn't,
I love it.
you know, her life. I think she ended up being an actor, but that wasn't her like dream, or she wasn't like super
Oh.
into it. Where she's like, I'll do anything to be an actor. She's like, I don't
right,
give a
right,
fuck.
right. The
You
desperation
hired
wasn't
me.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's
Yeah.
like, you think I'm good for this? I'm already in half the movie. You're not going to fire me. Fuck
You're
you.
not going to get rid of me
She
now.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, she was married to Cary Grant for a year.
Yeah, and I think she became like a princess or something too after
Yeah,
that.
she was married
Whoa.
to the, this is from the Wikipedia page, married to the 9th Earl of Jersey.
Yeah, there you go. So she like Grace Kelly'd herself.
Huh.
She launched herself through Hollywood and then married a super rich prince in another country.
And she's like, I don't need your fucking money.
Yeah.
She was in a
Yeah.
handful of films, like quite a few, looking at like after City Lights, like around 8 or 9 more films after that.
That's like exactly like Grace
Yeah.
Kelly.
Pretty cool.
Right.
And she get to say that she fucking told Chaplin off.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
that's
true.
That's like
That's right.
some of the best shit you got going.
Yeah. The boxing scene was a party. He invited all of his friends, acting buddies. They shot that for a while, and it
Ooh,
was
nice.
over 100 people, and they just had a party every
Oh,
day
cool.
to shoot. Everyone in the background did.
Hell of a
See,
gig.
maybe he wasn't such a bad guy.
They called, I don't know if this is good or not, but the commentator was like, when he's winking at the other boxer, this was a popular style back then called pansy humor.
Uh-huh. Okay.
There,
Never
what
heard
we
that
have here
one.
is a classic case
Yeah.
of pansy humor.
All right,
weird,
Mr.
isn't it?
Pansy.
Yeah.
Sounds funny.
Yeah.
I don't like pansy humor. Oh, I'm a big
I don't
fan
like
of pansy
pansy
humor.
humor.
Yeah,
I'm
I got
fancy.
a whole pansy collection.
Yeah.
It's a genre. It's a specialty of mine as a commentator.
Pansy humor. Yeah, weird. The premiere in LA had over 25,000 people at it.
Oh.
Not everyone could get in, obviously.
Right.
Einstein was there.
Oh, no
Wow.
shit.
Yeah, and when the lights came on at the end, Chaplin was sitting near Einstein. He turned to him to see what he thought, and Einstein had tears rolling down his face.
No.
Oh.
Einstein cried at this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's,
Cried laughing, we assume.
Wow.
No, at the end, he thought it was beautiful with the
Because of the scene.
the
or-
eyesight thing,
oh.
and he met her and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
This is in 1931. There weren't that many movies back then.
Yeah.
Like no other
it's
movies.
not like, right.
were
there's
like
the-
this.
You have to remember
That's
that.
wonderful, though.
Yeah.
That's nice. Wow.
It's crazy that like Einstein was there.
Yeah, and it,
Wow.
it made Einstein cry.
Yeah.
Wow.
That should be a t-shirt.
It sounds like just one of those things that you hear, and then everyone cried, and Einstein was there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Right.
was sobbing.
It just sounds a little
Yeah.
made up, but it's not, apparently. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay.
End on Einstein crying? Why not?
I mean,
That's
yeah,
right.
that sounds good.
Go out on
Yeah.
that.
Sure.
Would you put this in the
You
top
need to-
250, guys?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I would.
I can understand.
I'm moving
that.
the goalpost.
I would. It's old. It's the oldest one. You know,
I would.
There
It's
you go.
old.
It's old.
That should
Say
be the
good
the
title.
bar's
of
got to
the
be
film.
set low,
episode.
and it was not bad. So what do you think? That's
I
that
mean,
good
hey,
enough?
you know, as long as you had a good time, it's a win for
You
someone.
left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just not me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Next week, guys,
What do
Yeah.
we got?
we're gonna go to the theater. Hopefully,
Is it the
Okay.
Oppenheimer or the Barbie?
Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer's
Why
rated
not?
the
Why not?
20.
I say Oppenheimer.
Yeah, that's fine. What's Barbie at?
Oppenheimer.
What's Barbie's IMDb?
Let's
If
see.
you don't know, we are in this incredible craze for their two
Barbenheimer.
The
Yes, with the
Barbenheimer. What a
Barbie
hell of a
movie.
marketing thing that was, huh?
Mhm.
doing incredibly well as Oppenheimer.
It was great. Yeah, it's like it's not will I go to the theater this weekend? It was which movie am I going to see
Am I
when
gonna
I go
see
to the
this?
theater?
Yeah,
this weekend?
right. Exactly.
Yeah,
So I imagine Oppenheimer has a
7.5.
better- Yeah,
Barbie.
that
It's
seems-
pretty good.
It's still good.
And Oppenheimer, I think, is like the 29th best movie ever made right now, according to IMDb. Which since this movie's on there, it doesn't say too much, does it? Even though we're basing a large chunk of our lives on doing this podcast
Yeah.
about the list.
What list?
It's got an 8.8. It's the 23rd best
Yeah.
movie of all time.
Wow, 8.8.
That's pretty good.
pretty good.
177,000 votes too. Damn.
Jesus.
No.
Okay, we're going to see
It's
Oppenheimer.
gonna be good.
Yep.
And it's Hans Zimmer, right? Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon. Come on.
I mean, it's just going to be good. You know
Robert
it is.
Downey. Oh yeah, look at this cast.
Jesus. I know. Damon.
Kenneth Branagh. Yeah, he's in there.
Oh wow!
That's right.
All right,
All
right.
sorts of people are in it.
Yeah.
So,
Is it Hans Zimmer?
I
Trying
don't
to
know.
find
Seems
it
like it
here.
should be.
You're the one spouting out names there,
IMDb's
name boy. You
fuck-
gotta
they always
tell
try to get me to subscribe to the Pro, and they always like, try to
because
hold
they want
back
you
the
to
information.
pay. You
Yeah.
know, Amazon just
Yeah.
hiking your rates
It's
up every
credits.
minute when you're not paying
Ooh,
attention.
It's not Hans Zimmer. It's Ludwig Göransson.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Whoever the
All
hell
right.
that is.
All right. I don't even know who that
I
is.
don't know who that is either.
Yeah. All right.
He's pretty good. He's got long hair, guys. Really long
Oh,
hair.
well,
so
he
you
must
know,
be good.
You know it's going to be good.
Yeah. Oh, boy. All right.
All
On
right.
that note, see
Yeah.
you later.
Talk to you guys next week.
all right. Have a good day, guys.
Stop 'em.